Hey everyone, Gretchen from the Anti-Boring Approach to Powerful Studying here. Last week we looked at how to create a one-page cheat sheet as a way to pull together a lot of overwhelming PowerPoint slides. And when I was making that video, I created this other whiteboard that I also wanted to share with you because I started thinking about what kinds of supplies should people have just randomly around their house to help enable creating some interesting and anti-boring cheat sheets for yourself. Now, certainly just regular blank computer paper or even lined paper is the standard that people have around their houses, right? So that's one way to go, but that's kind of boring to always make something on the same piece of paper. And also, sometimes PowerPoints, there's so much information that it might not quite fit on a regular size computer paper. So what else could you do? Another thing that I sometimes like to have around the house is 11 by 17 paper. You also can just tape or glue two pieces of computer paper together, but sometimes it's fun to just have a bigger amount of space to work with, especially if you're choosing one of the more creative options I offered, like a chart or like an image or a map. Sometimes you need a little bit more room. Speaking of more room, it can be also nice, although this is more expensive, to have some of those big Post-it notes around the house, like really huge, like, shoot, I have mine in the car because I just did a presentation recently, but I can't show you. But for cheaper, you can also just have a big thing of newsprint and then some blue tape that you put it up with on the wall with. I think it can be really nice, especially as you're nearing the end of the semester and you're starting to pull together a lot of information and prepare for final exams, to sometimes just make it be, whatever you're doing to study, make it be different than what you've been doing so far. And if you haven't tried the big Post-its, it can be really fun. Or like I said, even just the big newsprint paper, that can be really fun. Now, having whiteboards is also a good thing. I have these little whiteboards, as you know, and here I'm even gonna show you, because it's helped me to work out the content for these videos, to just have a bunch of whiteboards. So I have a ton of them. I'm gonna show you behind the scenes really quickly. You can see my presentation there. Look at all those whiteboards. So that's behind the scenes. But sometimes I will have students actually put a huge whiteboard in their space if the family can afford to do so and if there is wall space, because it can be really nice to stand and move. And what's nice about whiteboards is you can erase and rewrite. So there's a lack of perfectionism. Sometimes when we're using paper, we become a little bit more perfectionist than when we're on whiteboards. So index cards can also be nice, sometimes having smaller cards, or like if you've decided that you want to do this chart format, well, a chart can be taped on the wall with lots of index cards, one for each box. And I mean, don't make too much work for yourself. Some people then are like, ooh, that's a good idea with the index cards. And then that takes so much time, but you're not actually learning as you're like making all the cards and taping them up. So do monitor how much of the time that you're spending is actually learning. But for some students who are bored with everything else, spending a little bit more time taping things up, if it seems exciting, can be the right thing to do for index cards. And then, of course, little Post-it notes, regular notes. I don't use these as much, but sometimes they can be nice spread out on a piece of paper to show. And then you can draw arrows in between them to draw connections between ideas. So I'm making this video in March. You all are probably seeing it in April of 2019. So that means college students have just a month left in the semester, and high school students have a couple months left. So it could be nice to go do a run. Parents, if you're listening to this, take your student with you. Don't do this for them. But it could be a fun way to get through the rest of the semester, to add to your supplies at home and make sure that you have a lot of variety. And then can put them up around the house. If there's not room in the bedroom, maybe there's a hallway in the house that as we move towards finals, as you make your big one-page cheat sheets of information, they could go up in the hallway. So whenever you pass it by, you see it. That is a way to sort of passively have the information surrounding you. So good luck. If you have any questions, Gretchen at GretchenWegner.com is the place to go. There is a lot more information and tons of ideas in my online course, The Anti-Boring Approach to Powerful Studying. So if you want to see more about that, just go to my website, GretchenWegner.com, or email me, and I'm happy to tell you more. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, y'all.